I love LA. I've lived here my whole life. I love the beaches and the mountains, the tree-lined streets, the busy boulevards, the shops and the restaurants. I have also had the opportunity to travel the world. In Mumbai's Dharavati, the world's largest slum, I saw families under metal roofs, packed into single rooms and along twisted alleyways. Walking to the trash city of Zebulun, Cairo, I saw families living among mountains of garbage and surviving by sorting what others threw away. In Vietnam, I saw children growing up in stilt houses over muddy water, playing barefoot on fragile planks. Yet despite living in poverty, at the margins, people were still woven into their communities, recognized as neighbors, citizens, and fellow humans. Yet ironically, the most foreign place I've ever been is not abroad. It's right here in Los Angeles, California. Skid Row. It feels otherworldly to walk among tents spilling into streets, trash heaps turned into homes, with people wandering into traffic. Unlike Cairo or Mumbai, here the unhoused aren't part of the community. They're pushed aside as nuances, dumped here like trash, often stripped away of their very humanity. You see people slumped against walls, lives paused, spirits heavy, hope slowly leaking away. It feels like walking through a place where human spirit has been dimmed, not by hunger or hardship alone, but by disconnection. I volunteer at the Midnight Mission, a non-profit providing meals, shelter, and recovery services in the very heart of Skid Row. Every Friday, I help serve over 500 breakfasts to the most destitute of the city's homeless. Places like the Midnight Mission do what they can. A hot meal, a smile, a moment of dignity. But with so many people and so little time, the deeper humanity needed to break the cycle gets lost. The scale overwhelms even the best intentions. And so I find myself searching for something different, for a sign that community could still exist here, for a reason to believe that Skid Row wasn't beyond repair. During breakfast service, one of us ladles oatmeal, another adds fruits or potatoes, and then the plate comes to me. As I hand it over, I make eye contact and say, "Good morning." In this way, I've come to know them. One morning, Ruben, a former convict recently off the streets with just 36 days sober, was volunteering with us. His enthusiasm and love for life was infectious. I wanted to know what was driving him, and he connected me with something I did not expect, the Skid Row Running Club. I was hooked. Now I get up at 5 a.m. twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. I drive downtown and walk through Skid Row in the cold to the corner of San Pedro and 6th to run with an unlikely community of social workers, students, people recovering from addiction, incarceration, and homelessness. Who started it? How has it changed lives? Why does it work? I wanted to find out. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Craig Mitchell started the club in 2012, and he is still here, running 3 times a week, every week.
My name is Craig Mitchell. I am a judge on the Superior Court here in Los Angeles, and I am the founder of the Skid Row Running Club.
My name is Mario Campo.
Hi, my name is Brenna. I'm an alcoholic addict. I'm a member of Skid Row Running Club, proud member of Skid Row Running Club.
My name is Ruben Rojas. My hometown is San Pedro, California, part of Skid Row Running Club.
What inspired me was I knew 15 years ago how important running was for my own mental, physical well-being. And when I came down to the Midnight Mission, they asked if there was something I could do to contribute to their recovery program. And so it made sense to me. If running helped me maintain a very positive approach, helped me deal with the issues in my life, running could do the same thing for people who were here on Skid Row. Obviously one of the most rewarding things about being involved in the Skid Row Running Club is to see the difference it makes in people's lives. Meeting with people 3 times a week, people who share a background of addiction, of homelessness, mean, you're with people who understand you, who understand what you're confronting in life. And to see the result of being loved and nurtured by a group of people is incredibly meaningful. I mean, you look at people who a year ago, 5 years ago, their life was a mess.
Background story has a lot to do with prison and using. Unfortunately, I was caught up in that type of background. I've spent 18 years in prison behind selling drugs and using them. And it wasn't until the court system gave me a program instead of prison that I was able to get it.
Before joining the club, I was homeless for 3.5 years by choice. I was in my addiction. I was mentally lost, emotionally lost, spiritually lost. Since joining this club, it has given me hope.
I first heard about Skid Row Running Club when I was 6 months sober. I had gone to a house to help somebody move out that was going to be pulled out of the house. She was being kicked out by the sheriffs. So several of us that were in sobriety went to this house randomly to help this girl in an emergency move. And during kind of a break time, I had talked about, somebody had asked me if I was sober, and I had mentioned, yeah, I'm 6 months sober, I'm kind of gaining some weight, and you know, they said, well, we got this club, and it was Mario.
In 2017, I was given an opportunity to go and do a program for a year instead of a 3-year sentence. During that time, somebody told me that there was a running club started by a judge. And I came and joined. I was maybe 265 pounds at the time, and I started running and I never stopped.
When I paroled from prison, I decided to run a marathon, and I did run the LA Marathon. So running for me has realized it is very therapeutic for my life and my health.
It was good. I mean, I have never lived in an ivory tower, okay? I have practiced criminal law my entire career. Before I became a lawyer, I taught high school in South Central Los Angeles. I taught primarily gang members at Fremont High School and Crenshaw High School. So, I mean, you know, this neighborhood, you know, can be off-putting to people who, you know, have somewhat of a, you know, sheltered upbringing. That was not my experience. Okay, so it was good.
Halfway point that is like 2.5 miles to this park, and it took me maybe a month and a half to make it to the point where, you know, everybody greeted me because I was so slow. But after running for, say, a year, I ran for my first LA Marathon. I've done some triathlons. I did escape from Alcatraz. I've ran in Egypt and in India, Ecuador. So I've gotten to experience a lot of stuff.
And I remember it was in January and it was raining the very first day. And I kind of fell behind. And when we got to the park, I remember feeling like what the fuck, is this a fucking setup? Like I said, hey bro, where's Mario at? Right? And he goes, oh, he's coming. And I go, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna wait for Mario, homeboy. And because the judge and everybody was over at the end of Hollenbeck Park. So I felt very unsure of following somebody into a park with it being foggy and rainy and dark. And but then we came around that corner and everybody was right there and they were clapping and doing all kinds of weird shit.
Is that I know that when I run, after I run, I feel really, really good. And when I lay my head down at night, when I put Ruben first and not other people, self-care, I'm a better person to others and to myself. So coming every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, no matter what's going on in my life, running is very, very, it's like my faith, then comes running, and then a job.
Theological benefits for people in recovery to run. Swimming, bike riding, other forms of activity don't do it, but running does. It releases the endorphins, the dopamine, and when you have these substances released into your brain, you are disinclined to want to get high.
Running is more than an exercise, it's a medicine.
Scar tissue that I wish you saw. Sarcastic Mr. Know-It-All. I'll close your eyes and I'll kiss you, 'cause with the birds I'll share. With the birds I'll share this lonely view. And with the birds I'll share this lonely view. And push me up against the wall. Young tuck girl in a push-up bra. I'm falling all over myself to lift your heart and taste your hill. 'Cause with the birds I share this lonely view.
When your feet hit the pavement, the brain responds. Dopamine and endorphins, the body's natural reward chemicals rise. Cortisol, the stress hormone, falls. And when people run together, another chemical appears, oxytocin, the molecule of trust and bonding and belonging. It is the biology of connection. In a place defined by trauma, addiction, and loneliness, running becomes a kind of healing, a way for people to feel alive again, a way to remember that their bodies and brains are capable of putting aside suffering.
With the birds I share this lonely view. With the birds I share this lonely view. Soft-spoken with a broken jaw. Step outside.
But running alone cannot solve homelessness, and the more I learned, the more I needed to understand why Skid Row, unlike the communities I've seen across the world, seem to collapse instead of cohere. So I reached out to the people who study this crisis every day, and what I learned reframed everything. I was lucky enough to get a chance to speak with Matthew Mitnick, who is the Community Relations Coordinator for Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority.
My name is Matthew Mitnick. I work with Government Affairs and Community Relations at the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, otherwise known as LAHSA, and I'm speaking with you today in my personal capacity, but I can draw on my professional experience. Generally speaking, the Department of Housing and Urban Development's definition of homelessness is used throughout homeless services in LA and in the United States, and it's defined as someone who does not have shelter and does not have a permanent place to live. And there's 4 categories in which people fall into. There's chronically homeless, which is you've been on the street for 2 or more years or have a serious disability. There's literally homeless, you're living in a tent, makeshift shelter, sleeping in a door frame. And then there's at risk of homeless. Is you have Skid Row, which is the highest concentration of people experiencing homelessness within the county. It's also where all the transit lines meet each other. So it's very easy. If you're in spot 1, right, Lancaster, Palmdale, you can just take the train down. If you're over on the west side, you can take, it's easy to get there. And that's also where all the services are. You take someone, let's take someone who has served time, right? I talk to a lot of people who've served 20, 30-year sentences, and immediately they're dumped on the street with no housing. So they're homeless on day 1 when they come out of the carceral system. That population, if I go to them and say, okay, I'll put you in a congregate shelter bed where there's a row of bunk beds, you can only enter the shelter within these hours, you have very limited belongings, to them it just feels like jail all over again. If we're trying to convince people to go from the street indoors, that's not a way to do it. Part of the solution, and one thing I've realized from doing direct outreach is the people on the streets, they're just my peers, right? They're no different than friends of mine. They're people. And I think to what you were talking about earlier is so many people just pass by someone who's experiencing homelessness on the street and see them not as human. And I think once you actually start talking with people, learning their stories, regardless of what they're facing, even people I've spoken to who are experiencing psychosis, schizophrenic, who don't even think I'm real, I still try to find that sense of shared humanity because that could happen to me. Who knows what could happen, right? So I really think it's important that doing community stuff like that it actually brings the community in and sees people as actual people, and then by product, the people who are on the streets realize people want to help them.
Homelessness isn't one problem. It is many problems wrapped together. Untreated mental illness, addiction, generational poverty, skyrocketing rents, discrimination in housing, lack of family networks, people leaving prison with nowhere to go, people leaving hospitals with no support system. All of these forces funnel into the same few blocks, and the funnel didn't form by accident. But I also saw something else, the beginning of a transformation, because in the middle of all this, against the odds, a running club created a community where none existed. People show up at 6 a.m. when the city is still dark. They run through the streets that have swallowed them whole. We run past the tents, past the sirens, past the ghosts of their former lives. They run until belief returned to their bodies. They ran until the club became not just an exercise, but
open up, everything's waiting for you. You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. Go your own way.
every mile was a rebellion against despair. Every finish line was evidence that dignity could be rebuilt. Every step was proof that no one is beyond repair.
I mean, obviously one of the most rewarding things about being involved in the Skid Row Running Club is to see the difference it makes in people's lives. Meeting with people 3 times a week, people who share a background of addiction, of homelessness. I mean, you're with people who understand you, who understand what you're confronting in life. And to see the result of being loved and nurtured by a group of people is incredibly meaningful.
Who I was before was a totally different person. I think back at, who I was, and sometimes I have a problem realizing who and the person that I was. Today I have friendships that would not be seen with the person that I used to be, so it gives me an opportunity to get better. I was mentioning today that that old saying, tell me who you are and I'll tell you tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are, and I believe that has a lot to do with who the person that you are.
I see myself today as I walk in integrity, my actions speak louder than my words. I feel like a human being. I love myself today. I keep my head up high. I know that no matter what I go through today, I have many, many people I could pick up that phone and call, and they'll walk me through it or walk with me. So I have a very good support system.
I get emotional talking about it, thinking about it, because that ugliness that I felt at the beginning of my sobriety is not so much of who I am anymore. And today, and I still didn't take it too serious. Like I didn't allow people into my life really, and every time I ran, I was like, I'm never fucking coming back to this again. Like, fuck this shit, I'm never doing this shit again. And then I would get a call from one of the ladies or Mario, and he'd be like, hey Brennan, you gonna go running? You wanna come running on Thursday? And I'd be like, fuck man, like, I'd be like in my apartment just pacing like, fuck, yeah, I guess I'll be there.
Skid Row is not the poorest place I've seen, but it is the loneliest.
My vision for the future is that we continue to be a community of people who support one another in recovery.
Hope doesn't bloom everywhere. It needs care. It needs trust. It needs people who refuse to give up on each other.
Honestly, I found brothership, I found friendship. I mean, I consider almost everybody here like my sponsor because they hold me accountable to my actions. They show up, they pick up the phone, they call me, check up on me, vice versa, I call them. If I need a ride to work, if I'm running late, whatever, if I need food, they've helped me out with food. I mean, this is my family, and I said more than once, this is my extended family, and family's there for people when you need them the most, and they have shown me that. They embrace me. Yeah, I love all the members, including you guys. You know, we're family.
Club has completely changed my life, and I know that it was partially because I was inviting this community into my life and allowing myself to no longer isolate, and allowing myself to be part of a community helped me heal on my own.
Because when people come together, truly come together, even those broken places can start to heal.
Today, I have 8 years sober. I have relationships that are amazing. Prior to me getting sober, I had never been anywhere. And I've traveled the world, I've ran marathons. My life has totally taken a turn for the better.
But I think what young people generally should do is get out in the community, do a breakfast service, do something like the Skid Row Running Club, or even, you know, if you see someone on the streets, just say hi to them and strike up a conversation if you think it's safe to do so. And I think once that's done, it'll be very apparent that we're all, like, for us to address these issues we've talked about today, everyone has to play a part. You can't just rely on one organization, one government to do it.
I would embrace them first. I would listen. You know, listening is a very good thing. I would tell them that they're the most important person here in front of me, because to take the first step, you know, like, you take it day by day, live for today, you know. And I would just tell them that I walked in their shoes before, and that I mean, surrendering is that first step. Just honestly saying, you know what, I'm tired of using it. I would just honestly tell them that I've been where they're at, you know, and that if they keep coming back and if they pick up that book and do what the book says, that they will have way more days sober.
Skid Row may be fractured, but in the rhythm of those footsteps, in the breath of people pushing forward, I've seen the first signs of something powerful, the return of humanity.